I've known Derek for over 15 years. We went to college together, joined the same frat, even crashed on each other's couches through our broke 20s. He's more than a friend. He's my brother. So when he invited me on this weekend getaway, just him, his wife Emily, and me, I said yes without a second thought. I needed the escape. I always thought Emily was beautiful, but not in a way I ever allowed myself to linger on. She had that girl next door charm. Messy hair, lazy smile, the kind of eyes that seem to know things you don't say out loud. But she was Derek's, and that line was always in bold, heavy ink. The drive started out normal enough. Derek had us laughing with one of his old stories from back in college, the one where he tried to sneak a goat into the dean's office. Emily rolled her eyes the way wives do, half annoyed, half amused. She sat beside him up front, leaning against the window, scrolling through her phone, occasionally chiming in to correct details Derek exaggerated. 3 hours in, we stopped for gas and snacks. When we got back in the car, Emily slid into the back seat without saying much. Derek said he was beat and leaned his chair back, pulling a hoodie over his face like he always does when he's about to knock out. I didn't think anything of it. I drove. The road ahead was clear, and a soft playlist hummed through the speakers, low enough that the silence between songs seemed louder. I adjusted the rearview mirror and caught a glimpse of Emily in the back. She wasn't looking at her phone. She was looking at me. There was something different in her eyes. Quiet, unspoken thing. "You always drive like this?" she asked softly. "Like what?" Both hands on the wheel. So serious. Her voice was playful, teasing. Chuckled. "I'm focused. Someone's gotta keep us alive." She laughed quietly, and the sound of it did something strange to my stomach. I told myself it was nothing. The road was long and boredom makes people weird. That's all it was. But then I felt it, the weight of her hand brushing lightly across my shoulder from behind. Just a graze. Innocent maybe. But it didn't feel innocent. Felt intentional. My breath caught, but I didn't say anything. I kept my eyes straight ahead, hands gripping the wheel tighter. "You're tense," she whispered. I didn't respond. The silence stretched. "I mean, you must feel it," she added, her voice softer now. "This tension between us." I laughed awkwardly. "You're Derek's wife." "That's not a no," she said, and her tone was different now, lower, knowing. I could see her clearly in the rearview mirror now. Her legs were crossed, one heel dangling lazily from her foot. The sundress she wore had ridden up just enough to show a sliver more skin than I was ready for. She didn't adjust it. "Emily," I said, more as a warning than anything else. "Relax," she said. "He's asleep." That's when I felt it. Her hand, slow, deliberate, moved from the back of the center console to the front, hovering just inches from my lap. My heart pounded. Every instinct in me screamed to stop this. I stared at the road, willing myself not to react, not to breathe, not to move. Then she touched it. Not by accident. Not soft. Her hand settled right on my third leg. Firm. Certain. Like she'd done this before. My throat tightened. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even think. "Don't pretend you don't want this," she whispered, her fingers moving slightly. Flinched. "Emily, stop." But I didn't move her hand. I didn't stop the car. My brain was screaming one thing, but my body, it betrayed me. Everything in me tightened. My pulse roared in my ears. Derek stirred in the seat beside me and turned his head slightly, but he didn't wake. Emily didn't flinch. She just held me there. Confident. Dangerous. I didn't know what scared me more. Her boldness, or the fact that a part of me didn't want her to stop. The moment lasted maybe 10 seconds. Maybe less. But it felt like a lifetime. Then, slowly, she withdrew her hand and leaned back into her seat like nothing had happened. Like she didn't just cross the line that can never be uncrossed. Exhaled finally. My hands were damp against the wheel. I swallowed hard. Derek snored lightly beside me. The road stretched on in front of us. And everything I thought I knew about friendship, loyalty, restraint, suddenly felt miles behind us. I didn't dare look in the mirror again. Not yet. Because deep down, I knew something had shifted. Something dangerous had just begun. And there was no going back. The silence after that drive was louder than any argument could have been. When we arrived at the hotel, Derek stretched, yawned, and gave me a casual "good drive, bro." Like nothing was wrong. Like he hadn't been inches away while his wife was. I couldn't finish the thought. He headed into the lobby to check us in. Emily stayed in the car, claiming she was tired. I should have gotten out too. Should have taken a walk, splashed water on my face, done something to clear my head. But I stayed. Door shut. Engine still running. She didn't speak right away. Just sat in the back seat, arms folded across her chest, staring out the window. The only sound was the low hum of the AC and the muffled beat of a car pulling into the lot beside us. Then she leaned forward again, resting her arms on the center console. Her voice low and unbothered. "You're quiet. What do you expect me to say?" I muttered. She smiled, not smug, not shy. Just knowing. "I didn't do anything you didn't want." "That's not fair," I said, glancing at the hotel doors. "He's my best friend." She cocked her head. "You think I don't know that? Then why did you?" She cut me off with a simple, blunt truth. "Because I could." It wasn't an apology. It wasn't a confession. It was a fact. I opened my mouth, but she kept going. "You've looked at me for years. You think I don't notice the way your eyes drift when I wear certain things? You're not innocent." My jaw tightened. "That doesn't mean I wanted." She laughed softly. "Didn't seem like you were complaining." I stared ahead. My knuckles were white on the wheel. She shifted her tone, gentler now. "Look, I don't want to ruin anything. Derek's oblivious, and it's gonna stay that way. But what happened back there? That was real. And you felt it too." I finally looked at her. Really looked. Her hair was a little messy from the ride, lips parted slightly, eyes heavy with something between desire and danger. And God help me, she was right. I had felt it. Every second of it. She unbuckled her seatbelt and moved toward the front. Froze. "Emily, no. We can't." She didn't listen. Her hand moved to my knee, slow, deliberate again. She climbed into the front seat, straddling me, her breath hot against my jaw. The key still sat in the ignition, dashboard glowing faintly beneath her arm. "We already did," she whispered. My body betrayed me again. My hands went to her waist, half to steady her, half because I didn't know where else to put them. Her lips brushed mine, barely at first. Test. Then again deeper. I knew I should have pushed her away. Every second that passed was another betrayal. But the space inside that car shrank to just her, and me, and the heat rising between us. She kissed me again, this time with full intention, and I let her. My seat tilted back slightly, a lever creaking under the sudden weight. Her dress shifted, riding higher, the thin fabric pressing against my lap. My hands moved instinctively, gripping her hips, pulling her closer. I hated how natural it felt. She leaned down, her lips against my neck now. "Tell me you don't want this," she whispered. I didn't say anything. She unbuttoned my jeans, her fingers fast, confident, like this wasn't the first time she'd done something like this. And maybe it wasn't. Her skin was warm against mine. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. The windows began to fog. Somewhere in the distance, I could hear a car horn, but everything else faded. There, in that parking lot, in the front seat of Derek's SUV, I crossed the line completely. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't romantic. It was frantic, shameful, and intense. Our bodies moved fast, like we both knew this moment wouldn't last long, and shouldn't be happening at all. Her moans were soft, breathless, barely controlled. My hand slid beneath the hem of her dress, and she leaned into me fully, rocking just enough to send waves of heat through my entire body. It didn't last long. Couldn't. I finished quickly, quietly, and she held still for a second, her head resting against my chest. Her breathing slowed. She climbed off without saying a word. Adjusted her dress. Smoothed her hair. I zipped up, heart still racing, eyes darting to the door. Derek was walking back toward the car, keycard in hand. I opened the driver's side door, pretending to stretch, wiping my face with my sleeve. "You guys good?" he asked cheerfully, not noticing a thing. Emily smiled from the back seat, already buckled in. "Yeah. Just waiting on you." I nodded, forcing a smile. "Yeah, all good, man." As we pulled up to the room, Derek slapped my shoulder. "Man, appreciate you driving. I owe you." His words hit me like a punch. Emily walked ahead, hips swaying, calm as ever, like none of it meant a thing. But for me, everything had just changed. The next morning was colder. Not the weather, just the atmosphere. Barely slept. My mind kept replaying it over and over. Her breath on my neck, the way she moved, how easily it happened. How easily I let it. I kept hearing Derek's voice in my head. "I owe you." We met downstairs for the free breakfast. Derek was his usual self, chatting with the hotel clerk, making jokes about the powdered eggs. I sat across from Emily at the table. She sipped coffee like nothing had happened. She didn't look at me once. Not even a glance. Derek joined us, handed her a small yogurt and kissed her temple. "Got your favorite." She smiled. "Thanks, babe." That smile, God, that smile. Just 12 hours ago, her mouth was on mine. Her nails were digging into my shoulders. And now she was playing perfect wife like she hadn't just shattered whatever trust existed between us three. I couldn't eat. I kept my eyes on my plate, stabbing a piece of sausage over and over with a plastic fork. "You good, Jay?" Derek asked. I looked up quickly. "Yeah. Just tired." Emily finally met my eyes, but only for a second. That look. It was calculated. Cold. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't guilty. She was in control. And somehow that made it worse. When we got back to the room, Derek stepped into the shower. Emily started packing. I stood by the window, staring at the parking lot, watching cars pull in and out like nothing in the world was wrong. I needed air. I slipped out, walked down the hall to the vending machines, just to get away for a minute. My heart was thudding again like it had during the drive. But this time it was shame, not lust. Then I heard footsteps behind me. It was her. She stopped beside me, looked at the vending machine, pressed a button for water, waited in silence. "You can't just pretend like nothing happened," I said, my voice low. She didn't look at me. "Why not?" "You are." Clenched my jaw. "I'm not. I haven't stopped thinking about it." She took the bottle from the machine, twisted the cap, and took a slow sip. "Then don't think about it," she said. "It's easier." "Easier?" Scoffed. "I betrayed my best friend." "You?" "I protected him," she said, cutting me off. Her voice was steady, unbothered. "He doesn't know. That's what matters." I stared at her, disbelieving. "You've done this before, haven't you?" She smiled faintly. "You're not the first. But you are the most guilty." There was no remorse in her eyes. Just facts. Clean. Unemotional. "I thought it meant something," I said quietly. She laughed, soft and dismissive. "No, Jason. You wanted it to mean something. That's different." I stepped back from her, disgusted, with her, with myself, with all of it. "I don't know how you sleep at night." She leaned in, close enough that her whisper felt like a kiss. "Peacefully. Right beside your best friend." Then she turned and walked away, bottle in hand, hips swaying, calm as ever. I stood there for a while. Couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. We checked out an hour later. The ride home was quieter than the one before. Derek dozed again. Emily sat in the back, reading a book, earbuds in. I drove. Hands on the wheel. Eyes forward. Pretending to be focused. But I wasn't. All I could think about was what I'd become. Derek hugged me when we got back to his place. "Appreciate the ride, man. Let's catch a game soon." He nodded. Forced a smile. "Yeah, man. Definitely." Emily gave me a polite wave. "Thanks for the drive, Jason." That was it. No wink. No hidden smile. just polite distance. And somehow that hurt more. I got into my car and pulled away. The house faded in the rearview mirror, but my guilt didn't. Every mile I drove, I felt her hands again. Her breath, her lips. But instead of arousal, I felt rot. I wanted to call him, tell him everything, rip the Band-Aid off. But I knew I wouldn't. I didn't want to blow his world up just to make mine feel less broken. So I stayed silent, like a coward, like a traitor, like a man who would carry this for the rest of his life. I pulled into my apartment complex, killed the engine, and just sat there. The echoes of that moment still haunted the silence. I thought back to all the promises I'd made to myself over the years. The kind of man I swore I'd be. But in a few reckless minutes, I became the man I promised I'd never be. And now, there's no taking it back.